2018 is over. It was an exhausting year, in a global sense, and hectic for me personally as I moved across the country and took a few months off from doing this project. I still got to play plenty of games, and on Christmas thought that it might be fun to do a Game of the Year list, but for the PlayStation games I played. Since I moved, I gained access to a Switch and PS4, and have been able to do a wide variety of gaming this year. Special shoutouts to Celeste, Slay the Spire, and Donut County. But it was nice to have the PS1Try Project as a buoy, something consistent, something usual. Despite my appreciation for that consistency, something else I really appreciate about games is when they push away from the usual and decide on some attitude, viewpoint, approach, theme, motif, or whatever, and lean into it hard and unapologetically. If a game does that and what it leans into isn't something completely objectionable like Nazism or tank controls, I'm going to have a good time with it. I had that in mind when selecting my list. The game on screen now, Side by Side Special, isn't on the list because I played it in 2017, but it would have been on such a list had I had this idea then. It's a great game. Anyway, these are the top 10 PlayStation games I played as a part of the PS1Try Project in 2018. Number 10. Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling.
First we have
Animaniacs.
Let's try that. That's pretty good. There's
Brunswick.
it's right here. All of these are pretty good. What is this segment?
Bowling games.
What does it say?
Indeed, bowling games is the same. Place your bowler, choose the amount of curve, then manage a meter or timing bar or two. One can do this part of a bowling game well, or they can do it poorly. Brunswick does it well, but that isn't why this game made the list. The ugly graphics aren't why it made the list. This game made the list because it got a grip of real pro bowlers to record little hype videos for themselves like this was a wrestling game, creating a late 90s time capsule of normalcy so bland it's aggressive. These polo-clad dads brag about their bags, but as you'll see, a stilted reed breeds cue-card catastrophe, as this Miller's tale of two-fingered cranking has no Chaucer author, and what has Roth wrought but hard-throwing cranks and roots for the Yanks. In lieu of further commentary, here are those videos in their entirety.
Hi, my name is Mike Albee. Being from Indianapolis, I love racing. But there's nothing like mowing down 12 strikes in a row, like the time in the 1993 Wichita Open. That 300 game was the thrill of my lifetime. Now I look to build on my 25 titles, my Triple Crown, and to win my third Bowler of the Year award. So let's roll.
Chris Barnes, Wichita, Kansas. I'm what's known as a high roller. I'm new to the PBA, but I've won tons of titles and thousands of dollars on the amateur circuit. So these PBA guys, they don't scare me one bit. As a 5-time member of Team USA, I've traveled all over the globe and bowled against the world's best players. Take me on, and I'll show you how it's done.
Make tapes of my bowling. It's the classic throw, lefty style. Parker Bone is my name, and I hail from New Jersey. They say I'm a nice guy. At least I win all the nice guy awards on tour, but how nice can I be? I routinely mop these guys up on the lanes. You have to win 14 titles, travel all over the world, and be a 5-time All-American. Let's go bowling. I'll try to be nice.
Justin Romick. Don't try to spell it, just say it. I led my college team to the national championships in 1987. I'm a fanatic in the weight room and can arm wrestle any one of these turkeys to the floor, not to mention knocking them down the lanes. I believe that the key to a good game is training, practice, and discipline. That's what we believe in Kansas. Take me on.
My name is Steve Jarris. Don't let this Mile Clark Kent look fool you. Over the last 2 years, only a few other guys have been on TV and won more money than me. Being from Chicago, I am one cool customer. You just can't get me rattled. So step up and let's get bowling, but be cool.
I'm Mike Miller from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I can really crank it. I'm also the only bowler in history to win a championship using only 2 fingers. That would be not using my thumb, for those having trouble following along. And I've also won using 3 fingers. I may be from the West, but on the lanes I can hook it coast to coast. Let's get to the game.
North Carolina does produce bowlers. Me. My name is Curtis Odom. When I'm not out beating up on the competition, I can actually be a nice guy. That's why I won the Steve Nagy Award for Sportsmanship in 1996. But be careful, looks can be deceiving. Let's bowl.
Randy Peterson. Some people call me a clown, but they haven't bowled against me. Don't let this Florida tan and good looks fool you. To win 11 career titles, you can't be a patsy. I routinely dust off the likes of Bone, Williams, and Albee, and you too, if you want to take me on. Good luck.
I'm Johnny Petraglia. I've been bowling action since I've been in diapers. Being from Jersey, you can put up with anything, or anyone. So I went out and became one of only 4 guys to win bowling's Triple Crown, and one of only 8 to roll a perfect game on TV. When you've been around as long as I have, you see guys come and go. I just stay and win.
Your parents know me. I'm Mark Roth, and now you know me. I am a true original, the first hard-throwing cranker. I have 34 titles, and I have 4 PBA Player of the Year awards. I've won over $1 million in my career, and I love the New York Rangers. But I'm not Mr. Nice Guy. Can't help it being from the city. So pick me or get out of my face. Remember, I know how to win.
I'm Ricky Ward, aka Bulldog, so guys with tons of titles, they don't scare me, I eat them for lunch. After all, with 3 tournament wins in the last 3 years, it lets me intimidate guys too. So take me on if you dare.
I'm Mark Williams. When I'm not out beating up on all these Yankee bowlers, I live in Beaumont, Texas. Northerners pretty much get out of my way when I step on the lanes. I've won the Tournament of Champions twice and the Touring Players Championship. In the majors, I'm tough to beat.
I'm known as Deadeye. Today, I'm the best in the game. I'm Walter Ray Williams Jr., 4-time PBA Player of the Year with an average of 4 titles in each of the last 5 years and over $2 million in career earnings. Should I go on? Oh, and one more thing. When I'm not winning on the PBA Tour, I also win World Horseshoe Pitching Championships. Who says you can't win in 2 sports?
Number 9, Moritaka Chisato, Safari, Tokyo.
Now that's an intro. Coming in weird at number 9, this game is a commercial for a person. If Brunswick Pro Bowling was an elegy to the mundane, this is an ode to the magical. Chisato Moritaka is a Japanese pop idol and multi-instrumentalist. This game is a celebration of her, featuring plenty of interviews and music videos, which we won't have here to keep this video on YouTube, and a pretty rough collection of mini-games, though this drumming one plays better than some full-fledged rhythm games for the PlayStation. The whole thing is wrapped up in this weird safari bit of window dressing. Part game, part jukebox, part shameless advertisement, completely adorable. It's Kiss Pinball without the whiskey stench, and there really isn't much like it on consoles.
Ah, 氷いちご。あ、こら！やっちゃった。シューティング。
Number 8, The X-Files.
Meet Agent Craig Wilmore, played by Jordan Lee Williams, who sadly passed away earlier this year. He's a store-brand Dale Cooper, which is still better than John Doggett. Mulder and Scully are missing, and it's up to him to find them. Early in this game, I went to live the dream and use my gun on my boss. Some adventure games won't let you do most things that don't work towards solving a puzzle. Tons of I can't do that's. Sometimes they'll recognize some actions as particularly foul or foolish and call them out, but still prevent them. And sometimes they'll just let you go for it. I tried to smoke Skinner.
Oh, that isn't smoke.
Missed, and my game ended, terminated for reckless discharge of a firearm. Kudos to the game for enforcing trigger discipline and letting me do that, and for being more comprehensible before that point than Versailles 1685 for Schwörung am Hof, an adventure game presumably set in 17th century France that I played in German for about 15 minutes, and it ended under similar circumstances when I used a note with a candle, hoping to reveal invisible ink instead, incinerating it idiotically. Accidents aside, the actual adventure game here is fine. It's what you'd expect. You have an inventory and locations. Sometimes you choose from a list of dialogue options. Sometimes you choose an attitude with which to respond to something. Ooh, funny? I like funny.
Yeah, he's probably here to make sure we're not stealing paper clips.
What's great about this game, though, for X-Files fans at least, is the amount of familiar actors from the show and serviceable newcomers. There's myth-arc relevant information abound, and the game is inconsequential enough to be considered canon. As the only PlayStation game to also function as a serviceable Season 3 episode of the X-Files, this is a easy inclusion on the list. And the talk icon makes it look like you're giving every character in the game a little smooch.
Good, I guess.
Best Opening, Tsurido Umitsurihen. Part of the idea of the PS1Try Project is that I see every PlayStation game. In practice, that doesn't really happen, as some games end dreadfully early. What I do get to see is the intro to every PlayStation game. I thought of doing this Game of the Year video on Christmas, and didn't conceptualize this category until the day after, but this fishing game sprung to mind immediately, so it's gotta get the title. Just watch this. Oh wow, I can't wait till I get to run around on the rocks like that. Just gotta get my gear, find a location, and...
Number 7, Running High.
Running High is a racing game that isn't too different from the usual ones. You can drift, boost, and attack to the left or the right. It's got some fun music, including vocal tracks, which you don't hear too often. Also, your futuristic robot people racing on foot. In this case, also on an asteroid. Or, once you unlock the goddamn baby, you're crawling. Very fast. As a baby. Against other babies. In an intense race. Absolutely delightful.
Number 6, Matsumoto Deiji 39, Story of Galaxy Express 39.
This is maybe the most stylish PlayStation game I've ever seen. This Japanese exclusive is, perhaps obviously, based on an anime. I don't know anything about it, but it looks and sounds great, and really feels like it pushes the PS1 to its limit. This game is a fantastic example of a late in the lifespan of a console gem. It looks so nice, I'm just going to sort of blindly accept that it's a faithful adaptation of the anime it's based on, sure to please fans and newcomers alike. It's not really an RPG, you don't level up or change. It'd almost be an anime FMV game if not for parts where you walk around an overworld and talk to NPCs. It more or less guides you directly through the story. It's as focused on narrative as it is on its style, a sort of futuristic western that's all too familiar now, but its age ironically lets it feel a little fresh. The part we're seeing here is actually the first time in the game, 20 minutes in, mind you, where my inputs do anything other than move through dialogue boxes, which you don't really want to do too fast because this game is fully voice acted, I assume pretty well. To be honest, I've always wondered if I'd be able to tell if voice acting in a language I don't speak is actually bad or not, but this doesn't seem like it is. I don't have much more to say about this since my playthrough ended pretty early. I failed one of the few and sparse action sequences, but gosh, this game sure looks nice.
Number 5, Hot Shots Golf 2.
Much like bowling games is the same, the control schema of most golf games goes back to biblical times, probably. Hot Shots Golf 2 really does live up to its European and Japanese name of Everyone's Golf 2 by adopting this familiar setup, making it feel pretty smooth and playable on a console that, by and large, can feel pretty sluggish and imprecise at times. And then doing the best job at wrapping everything up in a charming twee package. There's lots of nice clothes and silly golfers to choose from and unlock. Who needs Mario Golf when you can play as Gex, drive down the fairway as Sweet Tooth, or hack and slash your way through the links as Medieval's Sir Daniel? And for that matter, who needs Smash when Cloud's been fighting in Urguys for far longer? If Wes Anderson made a video game, I'd want Clap Hands developing it. They're similar masters of warm color palettes and memorable two-dimensional characters. Biggest disappointment, Metal Gear Solid.
That's not how I wanted this to happen. That is really not what I wanted to happen. Let's get on there. Motherfucker. I thought I had him knocked out.
The fourth game on the list is the hardest for me to write about. I played it once and have only revisited it in my memory, where it grows fuzzier and weirder, and I kinda like it like that. As a point-and-click horror adventure game, it doesn't really make for a compelling video, so here's just a series of screenshots with music from the title screen. Released on the same date as the XFiles game, Juggernaut is also a long adventure game spread over 3 discs. It gets off to a pretty slow start, and I remember wanting to throw in the towel out of boredom. But slowly but surely, the game got weirder and weirder. I started investigating alternate dimensions, leaving the dreary gothic castle for tropical islands with dark secrets, prison islands with dark secrets, the internet, and an item called Powered Child Finger S. This game grew continually bizarre, and I grew continually fond of it. Viewed objectively, it's obviously not as good as some of its contemporaries. Grim Fandango, released a year before this, sadly never for the PlayStation, but just look at this.
Number 3,
I haven't actually finished the PS1Try playthrough of this game yet, as I've been doing every session with Cole, where we're putting in a sincere effort to try to understand the Japanese in the game, and it's a decent tool for a certain sort of basic immersive study. The player character, Boku, is 9 years old and on summer vacation at his aunt and uncle's house in rural Japan in 1975, sent away while his mom is in the final month of pregnancy with a new baby. Every morning you wake up, do some calisthenics with your family, and the day is yours. You can run around the house, yard, and the slowly expanding countryside with tank controls that I'm too charmed by the game to actually get aggravated by. You can catch bugs, go fishing, fight those bugs against the local ruffians, and look at parts of the map you can't get to yet, but know you'll be exploring eventually. But eventually, every day, dinner time comes. You eat a nice meal that your aunt will, every night, remind you what it was if you ask her afterwards.
今日の晩ご飯はチャーハン、中華スープ、酢豚にシューマイなどなどの調べの好みでまとめてみました。
The evening phase is like the daytime one, but you can't leave the property. You can watch TV like a real asshole, making a better door than a window. Talk to your weird cousin who I think just said she puts milk in strawberry jam.
給食で牛乳に入れるやつ、何々ある？コーヒーでしょ？ココアでしょ？あとね、いちごジャム。
Eventually, if you don't go to bed yourself, your uncle makes it happen and you get to write in your journal about what that day's adventures brought. You repeat this 30 times and that's your month. Boku no Natsuyasumi literally translates to my summer vacation, and that's really all the game is, a kid on a summer break. Which, beyond being a stellar setting for a video game, means that everyone talks in fully voiced segments with no captions, which feels surprisingly modern. Talking words a 9-year-old can understand, and mostly about mundane domestic things. Situations like missing watermelons or broken pottery make for easier vocabulary to remember or look up than if this were most other games, talking about the force displacement potential of some battle mecha or a dank swamp home to a mollusk witch born of ichor and eldritch curses. And indeed, there's nary a mecha to be found in the Japanese countryside of 43 years ago. This game doesn't need 1,000-ton mecha. This game is 40-centimeter beetles you can fight with some weird friends you meet under a bridge. From the beginning, the game is already framed as a grown man reminiscing about that summer. You're playing as someone's memory of childhood, not as a child experiencing that summer for the first time, which cranks up
the first hard-throwing cranker.
The pastoral light this whole game bathes in. There's no non-diegetic background music playing, just gentle nature noises. This game is serene to the extreme, wistful by the fistful, a calm balm that balms all. I've only played less than half the month, but it seems clear that nothing truly bad will or even could happen. The most upsetting thing to happen to a character in the game was the collapse of my uncle's pottery shelf, caused exclusively by my sneaking into his shed and fucking around with it after he asked me not to, something I still feel guilty over. This game is a wistful extoller of a simpler time long since past, but as a game it feels very ahead of its time. If Boku no Natsuyasumi came out today, it'd probably be hailed as an indie darling. Meticulously moderated fan wikis would arise, documenting fish and bug locations. Obnoxious content creators would make long videos where they start to explore the game's reflections of transcendentalist philosophy until they remember they're in the middle of the Game of the Year list. Honorable mention. Best Not a Game. Tie. Simple 1500 Geo Series Volume 16 Neko no Kaikata Sekai no Neko Catalog, and Zen Super Robot Taisen Denshi Daihyaka. There's a few pieces of software I've been finding as I do this project that aren't games at all. Safari Tokyo was a near contender for this category, but its sparse mini-games disqualified it. These two discs are similar in form and perhaps also in content, at least abstractly so. The first one, the Cat log, is mostly a bunch of cat videos. YouTube on a disc. Some of cat recreation, most about cat education. Addresses and phone numbers to different Japanese cat clinics can be found, as well as an encyclopedia of different cat breed information. The other disc is an encyclopedia of mecha. I still don't quite understand the structure of various mecha franchises, re Super Robot Wars or Gundams, and what's Voltron anyway? But if I wanted to know some minutiae about the weight of a particular model, this thing's probably gonna have it. It also had a video file that seemed to be about 17 minutes of short commercials for different anime series, voiced over by a man whose accent betrayed no unfamiliarity with the English language, but whose grammar told the true tale.
When you don't afraid any sunshine, come on, baby.
Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger. Number 2. Chrono Trigger. Since we're already making a 2018 Game of the Year list comprised exclusively of PlayStation games made before 2002, why not break another rule and throw in a Super Nintendo port? Originally released in Japan on March 11, 1995 for the Super Famicom, Chrono Trigger got ported to the PlayStation twice. First, just in Japan on November 2, 1999. This is the version I played. Then on June 29, 2001, North America got an exclusive port called Final Fantasy Chronicles, where Chrono Trigger came bundled with a retranslated Final Fantasy IV. The PlayStation version of Chrono Trigger adds some anime cutscenes that obviously aren't in the original, but the game itself stays the same, which is good because Chrono Trigger is an all-time great. This game set a standard for JRPGs that 23 years later, precious few games live up to. Multiple endings, New Game Plus mode, genuinely compelling storytelling, satisfyingly deep turn-based combat, beautiful graphics that look better than many actual PlayStation games, and some really great music. This game has it all, and better people than myself have sung its praises. With a genuine masterpiece coming in at number 2, the top spot, the real star of this list, could only go to... Number 1. Power Shovel. This is everything I like about video games. True escapist paradise, imagining oneself getting to eat that giant bowl of curry rice, so spicy and warm. It's a strange comfort as this nation plunges deeper into various labor crises to have a game emulating work as stable and reliable as construction. Many of my generation serve the dreaded gig economy, aimless non-employees with no supervisors, gods, or masters save for their Postmates driver rating. And then here comes Power Shovel. You have a boss, yes, but he's concerned with safety, very OSHA compliant, hard hats abound. You can earn millions of dollars, but mostly only spend it on the privilege of looking at more power shovels. Company script. It's a game that begs for Marxist analysis, but also resists it because it's just too playful and fun. First released in Japan as Power Shovel ni Noro on September 21st, 2000, and in America on July 19th, 2001, and a few months later in Europe as Power Diggers with a Z, this game captures the cartoony, manic arcadiness you might expect from legendary developers Taito, but throws in a surprisingly complex control scheme to wrestle with. The game's tutorial slowly teaches you how to operate the power shovel and their necessary lessons, even basic tasks requiring the use of all 12 primary buttons on the controller. Learning to operate the machine is ultimately rewarding as you're then treated to a fine selection of mini-games and various jobs to do, my favorites of course being the wacky ones. Power Shovel requires persistence. It asks for close attention and calm but steady action. Give it these things and accept whatever it gives back with open arms. And take the same approach with you into the new year. May 2019 bring you joy and strength.
And I can really crank it using only 2 fingers.